The blood is a fluid connective tissue that circulates through the cardiovascular system. It carries substance to and fro the cells of the body, helping them maintain homeostasis. An average adult has about 4 to 6 liters of blood, which makes up about 7 to 8% of body weight. The blood is composed of two major parts: the plasma, which is the liquid portion, and the formed element, which is the cellular component. Now let's break this down each at a time. Let's start with plasma. Plasma makes up about 55% of blood volume. It is a pale yellow fluid that serves as a transport medium for many substances. Plasma itself is about 90% water, and the remaining 10% consists of solutes such as protein like albumin, globulins, and fibrinogen, electrolytes such as sodium, potassium, calcium, chloride, and bicarbonate, then nutrients such as glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids, and then gases such as oxygen and carbon dioxide, waste products such as urea, uric acid, and creatinine, and then finally hormones and enzymes. You can think of the plasma as the river that carries essential substances around the body. Number 2, the formed elements. The remaining 45% of the blood consists of formed elements, which are the cells and the cell fragments. This includes A, the red blood cells, also called the RBCs or the erythrocytes. These are the most abundant cells in the blood. They are biconcave discs without a nucleus in their matured form, and their main function is to transport oxygen from the lungs to the tissue and carbon dioxide back to the lungs. They contain hemoglobin, a protein that binds oxygen. That's why they can perform the function of transporting oxygen from the lungs to the tissues. And then their average lifespan is 125 days, after which they are broken down in the spleen and the liver. Now you actually need to know this because it's very important. The red blood cells live for about 120 days, and then after 120 days they are broken down in the spleen and the liver. Then next is the white blood cells, which are the WBCs or the leukocytes. These are much fewer in number when compared to the RBCs, but they also perform an essential function of defense in the body. The white blood cells are part of the immune system, and it protects the body against infections or foreign invaders. There are two main categories: the granulocytes, which contains neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils, and then the agranulocytes, which contains lymphocytes and monocytes. Now each type has unique role. The neutrophils are the first responders and they fight bacterial and infections. Now the eosinophils, they combat parasites and they are also involved in allergic reactions. We also have the basophils, which release histamine in inflammatory responses. And we also have the lymphocytes, which produces antibodies and they also attack infected cells. And then finally the monocytes, which develop into macrophages and they engulf pathogens and debris. Now let's move over to C, which is platelets, which are the thrombocytes. These are not full cells, but they are fragments of large cells called the megakaryocytes, and their primary function is blood clotting. When a vessel is injured, the platelets stick to the site, form a temporal plug, and then release chemicals that activate blood clotting. Now let's move over to the function of the blood. Now that we have known what the blood is made of, now let's look at what it does. The blood has several critical functions and we can summarize them into three broad categories. We have transport, regulation, and protection. For transport, the blood serves as the main transport system of the body. It carries oxygen from the lungs to the tissue and carbon dioxide back to the lung to be exhaled. And then nutrients from the digestive tract to the blood cells, hormones from endocrine glands to target organs, and then waste products like urea and creatinine to the kidneys for excretion. So in short, the blood is like a delivery system, constantly moving essential substances. Then number two is regulation. Blood also plays a vital role in keeping the body's internal environment stable. It helps regulate A, the body temperature by distributing heat and adjusting blood flow to the skin. B, pH balance through buffers like bicarbonate ions, which I've talked about before, that keeps the blood at a pH of 7.35 to 7.45. And then fluid and electrolyte balance by maintaining proper water and salt levels in tissues. Now, these regulations is crucial for maintaining homeostasis and or the stable environment needed for cell to function properly in the body. Then number three is protection. So finally, the blood provides protection in two major ways. The defense against pathogens, which are white blood cells attack bacteria, viruses, and other foreign substances. Then antibodies produced by lymphocytes neutralize toxins and mark pathogen for destruction. Then we also have prevention of blood loss. Platelets and clotting factors prevent excessive bleeding from forming clots when the blood vessels are injured. So blood is not just a transporter, it is a regulator and also a defender. Now let's talk about the special properties of the blood. The blood is slightly alkaline with a pH of 7.5, and this is mostly maintained by the bicarbonate ion. And then it is about 5 times more viscous than water, and this is due to the presence of all these cells you have talked about and then proteins. Now the blood volume is tightly regulated, and losing more than 40% of blood without intervention can be fatal. Now let's talk about the clinical importance. Understanding the composition and the function of the blood is essential in medicine. For example, low red blood cell counts can lead to anemia, which can cause fatigue and weakness. And then low platelet counts can cause excessive bleeding. And then high white blood cell counts can indicate infection or leukemia. And then plasma analysis can reveal dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, or organ dysfunction. Now, this is why blood test is among the most common and important diagnostic tool in healthcare. So there you have it, an overview of the blood, its components and their functions, and also finally the function of the blood itself. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye.